And we're live.
And we're live. Hello, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Hopefully you can hear us. This is Erica. I'm the marketing director with True North Accounting. I'm joined by Matt and Curtis, who you can see on the screen. I think you've all seen the chat function on the side here. We've got lots of hellos. Please feel free to use that if you are having any technical issues or anything like that. We know this is a really stressful time for everyone. Thanks for joining today. Our hope is that we can help alleviate some of the confusion around the various programs recently announced by both the federal and Alberta provincial governments today. We plan to spend the first half of the webinar breaking down the various initiatives that have been recently announced. And as you know, things are changing very quickly. So this is based on the most current information we have today. The second half of the webinar will be dedicated to answering questions from all of you. So with that in mind, if you can use the Ask a Question function just to the left of the chat on the bottom of your screen to submit a question that you'd like Matt or Curtis to answer in the second half of the webinar. You can also upvote others' questions if you're also interested in hearing the answer. And our plan is to focus on the most popular questions during our Q&A. So use the votes, your votes wisely, I guess. I will be moderating the chat function. So if you're having any issues with the audio or video or want to comment on anything, please use that chat function. In terms of questions, we would just ask that you keep your questions focused on understanding these programs rather than critiquing them or the governments that have announced them. And just a caveat that the information we provide today is based on Matt and Curtis's expertise as CPAs, but as you know, we're not representatives of the government or of these programs. All right, before we get going, a little bit about True North. As many of you know, I think a lot of people on the webinar today are our clients, so thanks for joining us. If you aren't familiar with us, we're an Alberta accounting firm with locations in Okotoks and Calgary. We offer bookkeeping, accounting, and tax services for incorporated small businesses, solopreneurs, freelancers, consultants, and other micro businesses. We are super passionate about supporting small business and are here to help guide owners on their small business journey. I'm just going to quickly introduce Matt and Curtis, and then we'll get into the goods. So most of you probably know Matt. He's a lifelong entrepreneur and started his own lawn care and landscaping company while earning his Bachelor of Commerce in Finance from the University of Calgary. He earned his Chartered Professional Accountant designation while working at PricewaterhouseCoopers from 2009 to 2014. He is the founder of True North Accounting and is passionate about guiding small business owners through the wilderness of running a business. And we have Curtis, another partner at True North. Curtis grew up on Vancouver Island and moved to Alberta in 2011. He joined the True North Accounting team in 2016 and became a partner 2 years later. He is also a CPA and leads an engagement practice for True North Accounting. Curtis will fight the CRA for you. He'll stay up all night to meet your deadlines and genuinely cares about the success of your business. Over to you, fellas.
Oh, Matt.
Hi, yeah, thanks, thanks, Erica. Yeah, I'm Matt, and just want to thank all you guys for coming. And we just want to make this a helpful hour for you guys and ensure you all come out with a little bit of value. So yeah, ask the questions, vote for the questions that are already listed. And yeah, hopefully we can relieve some of the stress. This is a very uncertain time for small business owners in Alberta. So we understand where you're coming from, and a lot of people are scared and frustrated. So yeah, ask those questions. And we'll have Curtis here kicking off the first section.
Yeah, so first thing we're going to talk about is new deadlines. They announced a bunch of new deadlines Number one, everything's just being pushed back. They know everyone's struggling. There's extra things you're going to have to take care of. So they've pushed a bunch of stuff back. Personal tax filing deadline, normally April 30th, pushed back to June 1st. Personal tax payment deadline, which also normally April 30th, has been pushed back to August 31st. Their website also shows September 1st, but 1 day difference, not too big of a deal. Corporate tax filing deadline for anybody that has a corporation. Normally there's a 6-month filing deadline, and if that 6-month mark lands anywhere between March 18th to June 1st, then it extends all the way to June 1st for the filing deadline. So, for example, I guess a September 30th year end would normally have March 31st deadline. That gets extended all the way to June 1st. Corporate tax payment deadline, again, any of those extended all the way to August 31st. The same goes for any installments, personal tax payments and installments. The same. Any payments are getting the same extension. Gst returns, again, deadline's been extended, and that's if you're monthly, if you're quarterly, if you're annual. If any of the filing deadlines land anywhere between March 18th, June 1st, then it gets extended all the way up to June 1st. And GST payment deadline, again, if it becomes due anywhere in that time frame, the payment deadline or installment deadlines pushed to June 30th. A couple other notes. June 15th is normally the filing deadline for sole proprietors, and that remains the same. No change on that. Payroll, no change for payroll whatsoever. They haven't put, it's normally the 15th of every month. They haven't made any changes there. And then I guess as far as some filing deadlines internally, just to let anybody that's listening know, or anyone hears this, we're going to try our best to stick with our normal filing deadlines internally, but obviously, we want to get things done as quick as we can for everybody. But if anything prevents someone from being able to file or get the info, we've got extensions to work with. So.
Okay, and I'll talk a little bit about the 75% emergency wage subsidy. I know this is a big one for a lot of small businesses. The way it's going to work is you're going to apply through your CRA My Business account, and really you apply in 4-week increments. And to qualify, you have to have your revenue has to have been affected by COVID and be at least 30% lower. And it's the same month compared to 2019. So if your April revenue 2020 is 30% lower than your April revenue 2019, that's kind of the test that they're going to use. And then it's basically a lump sum. So I think you pay the salary, and then the government will reimburse you up to that 58,700 mark. So 847 a week. If your business has been affected, and it's going to continue to be affected like between March 15th and June 6th, then you'll get the max amount of, it's like just over 10 grand, that 847 times 16 weeks. But yeah, you have to reapply each 4-week period. We don't know exactly how stringent the CRA is going to look at these, like the revenue. I assume, like if you want to get your invoices from March, April, May of 2019, get those together. But we don't really know, like, will the CRA want you to be all up to date on your tax filings, or will they distribute money if you still owe? These are all kind of details that have yet to be announced. But this is for businesses that are affected, like they're out of revenue. Basically, like if your business is affected and you want to keep people on payroll, that's what this is for. So there's no cap. Like the 10% wage subsidy there's a cap of 25,000 per company. This one, there is no cap. It's just a cap per employee. So yeah, it's the application. We don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but I'm sure it's going to just ask questions about your revenue last year, what has caused the slowdown in your business. Yeah, it's to be seen. You can speculate a little bit, but if your business doesn't qualify for the 75%, the 10% wage subsidy is still applicable for those that maybe you don't meet the 30% drop in revenue, but your business is still affected and you're keeping people on salary. You can still use the 10%, and you don't have to apply for that, I don't think. The way that is administered is you just reduce your payroll remittances. So your next payroll is April 15th. And yeah, you would just take your gross wage, take 10% of that, and reduce the income tax portion of your payroll remittance for April 15th. And then again, for your May 15th remittance and your June 15th.
And just to comment quick, I've seen it a couple times pop up. It's 75% off the gross wage, not the remittance amount.
Right. Yeah, it's gross wage, and businesses are expected to contribute the other 25%, but I don't think it's required. But you have to pay that amount, and then it gets reimbursed. Okay, the CERB, the Canada Emergency Response Benefit. So this is like if you're on EI and you've already applied for EI, don't reapply, stick with your EI. If your EI runs out before October 3rd, then you can apply for CERB. But yeah, this is meant to be like a catch-all for anybody that hasn't or that doesn't qualify for EI. So this is a lot of self-employed people, freelancers, consultants, tradespeople that haven't registered for that self-employed EI. This will allow you to get that $2,000 a month or $500 a week. You do have to be out of work. So like the caveat is you have no work because of COVID. So if you quit your job, it's not like you probably wouldn't qualify. If you weren't working before March 15th, for whatever reason, like you were looking for a job, I don't think you would qualify. You would go straight to EI. This is sort of a catch-all for everybody that falls through the cracks, but are losing income because of COVID. So again, this one's open till October 3rd. So it's a much longer time frame than the wage subsidy. So you can max out your EI, collect that over the summer, and there's a cap on that. So if your EI runs out, then you can apply for CERB. But yeah, if you're already applied for EI, don't reapply for CERB. Just wait till you hear back and then apply. The application's already been out yet, so they should be out early next week. And again, you go into your CRA My account. If anybody's never been in their own CRA account before, I'd suggest registering for that. It's a bit of a process to register, but we'll post some links somewhere later. We'll figure that out. Maybe we can put them in the chat. But yeah, so apply for that, and then when the application comes live early next week, you'll just have to fill that out, and the money should start flowing within 10 days. If you do direct deposit, it's supposed to be 3 days. But yeah, it'll be, yeah, if they have to mail out checks, it'll be longer, but direct deposit should be quick. What else am I missing here? So yeah, there is a bit of a rule that you have to have had some employment income or some taxable income from 2019. 5,000 is what they want to see. And that's self-employed income, employment income, or like commissions or something like that. I don't know if dividends
Yeah,
apply.
that's a topic we've been trying to figure out, because they haven't. I've seen a little bit of information on it, but nothing concrete yet. From what I've seen on CRA's like releases, dividend income does not count as self-employment income or employment income, and so if you follow the stream of what they're releasing, it doesn't look like dividend income is going to allow you to apply for CERB. But I know we have a lot of people, a lot of clients that we deal with that are going to have dividend income only, because that's just how they've chosen to pay themselves. So you'd think common sense would guide them to release something similar, or allow dividend income from your own corporation to qualify, but we still don't know, and we're thinking there's going to be something else released on that topic, hopefully.
Yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. In terms of like, do I have to stop work altogether? I think you have to stop income altogether for at least 14 days. Like, you have to quarantine. You can't work, but then so you're done your quarantine and maybe you start making a little bit more money. I think you can still apply. It just has to be 14 days straight of no income. Okay, we'll go to, I think Curtis is going to talk to us about the Alberta Isolation Support Payment.
Oh, your audio sounded sketchy, but it sounded back now. So Alberta Isolation Support, it's a one-time, one payment amount that's meant to provide financial relief to anybody that's had to completely lost income, or how they phrase it is, where'd that go? They don't give any percentages or amounts, but they say a total or significant loss of income. And it's meant to bridge the gap between when one of these other programs, EI or the CERB, is going to be there to fill the gap. So experience loss of income, or you have from having to self-isolate, or total loss or significant loss. Or you also qualify if you lose your source of income because you have to care for somebody that's self-isolating. And then one of the qualifications, you're not currently collecting EI or any other form of sickness benefit. Their website has a portal you can access with your driver's license number to kind of fill out the application, and then shortly thereafter, it's a direct deposit right into your account. So it's there to give some form of financial assistance if you have an absolute loss, but and you need something to get by until one of these other programs kicks in, but not too much on that one to cover. It's, if you lost all your income, apply for it until you can get one of these other programs rolling.
Okay. And the link in there.
Oh, Matt's putting some links there where you can see some of the details. Their website does a decent job of breaking it down. It's kind of hard to read through, but you can see it shows the eligibility. It says you are not eligible for this program if, and then it's got the link to click through to apply there as well. So.
All we're doing is just interpreting what the CRA has put on their website. So yeah, that's really our only source right now, is what the government's actually released. We don't use news as a source for all this stuff. It's what is actually on like these sites that I just copied and pasted. like those links.
Yeah, the Canada Emergency Business Loan is an interesting one. It looks like it's going to be administered by each bank, each financial institution separately. It's an interest-free loan to a small business up to $40,000. Obviously, it's helped to cover operating costs due to revenue decline or just a complete shutdown of business during the crisis. You need to repay by the end of December 2022, and to qualify, from what I've seen so far released, it shows to qualify you must have had payroll, and that payroll. So that's when they say payroll between 50,000 to 1 million. In 2019, they're talking like the gross wage, so the total of box 14 on your T4 summary, total of all wages paid. It's going to be rolled out, and there's going to be more details coming soon, hopefully. It's guaranteed by the government, but you can see the bottom, or the second to last bullet point. It says it's going to be administered by each bank. I've seen one instance so far from CIBC that they told their customers that you qualify if you meet the payroll amounts and you have a CIBC business banking account. And then the possibility for 25% loan forgiveness. Each bank might have a little bit of different qualifications on that. The one example I saw from CIBC was if you repay 75%, so if it got $40,000 loan, you repay 30,000 of that before December 31st, 2022, 10,000 may qualify for complete forgiveness. After December 31st, 2022, it rolls into a 5. This is the CIBC example I saw. After the end of 2022, it rolls into a term loan for 3 years at 5%, whatever hasn't been repaid up to that point. So it's definitely like an attractive option if you need to get an extra source of funds for just to survive for the meantime, or to keep the business going. So rules bank by bank, it looks like. I'm sure, RBC, I see a comment there. So each bank is probably releasing something similar. They're taking what they get from the government and following some form of rules, but putting their own spin on it. So look for communication from your bank if you haven't already seen something. But it does. It looks like it definitely looks like a good option if it makes sense to. And you need the funds, right? Cash flow becomes ever so important this time of history. So,
okay.
Interest free, not only for again, each bank might be different. I saw interest free in the CIBC example. Interest free was up until the end of December 2022, and then it converted on any unpaid balance, like the remaining unpaid portion. But if you paid off 75%, they waive the other 10,000. So I think reach out to your own bank and see what they say as far as their specific qualifications are for it. That way you can make sense of it and see if it's a good option for you specifically. So
yeah, and the whole dividends thing, I think we'll just wait and see what the government says about that. Like dividends, if you're the non-arm's length, like you're the shareholder, so it should be self-employed income, but the way it's written right now, it's not looking like it qualifies for the CERB. But yeah, I think we'll just have to wait and see. Like maybe you can make a payroll remittance. We'll keep you posted on the dividends. There's time. Lots more details coming out all the time. Trudeau has always kind of been as soon as he got in, CPP was in a tough spot, and so he switched his policy right away to make wages a little bit more attractive, to kind of move people into taking wages and salary versus dividends. And it's worked. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's kind of like keeping dividends out of this, but we'll see. Hopefully not. But yeah, so we'll just talk a little bit about some of the other ways to either save cash right now or generate cash. The WCB, which is just Alberta, they've deferred premiums until 2021. If you've already paid your premiums, you can request a refund. And the Alberta government's also said that they're talking about even forgiving half of your WCB premiums for 2020. GST credit, they're just enhancing. This is more for lower income folks that get the GST credit. It's just being enhanced, so a little bit more cash there. Canada Child Benefit, they're enhancing that a little bit as well, up to just a one-time payment of $300 per kid if you're claiming the maximum. Both of those, they use your actual tax return data to calculate. So you'll want to file your tax return to get those. Farmers who are on some of these loan programs like the APP, they're deferring a bunch of those payments, and there's all sorts of, there's a bunch of write-offs depending on what kind of farmer you are, and just some of those programs. I would check out the APP website for those. Banks, I just got an email from TD saying they have a form that I can apply to defer mortgage payments. On the commercial bank side, if you work with a banker, I also got a call from our business banker saying we can defer loan payments for 90 days. That was ATB. And I know some business loans are 6 months as well. But there's some people don't see the point in deferring that mortgage payment because you're basically just deferring the principal payment. So your amortization period just gets a little bit longer, and interest still accrues during the 6 month mortgage vacation that you're taking, and it's just tacked on to the principal amount too, which that might scare people away. In a 25-year amortization period, you wouldn't notice it. It's all about cash right now. The government's just trying to, whoever needs to conserve cash as much as they can because their income's not there, they can defer that mortgage payment. And you do have to pay the interest on it, but a mortgage is the cheapest interest you can get right now, 3% for 6 months. So it's half a year, 1.5%, and you pay it off over time. It's a no-brainer if you don't have cash coming in right now. To be honest, lines of credit for your business, same thing. You can defer the interest on that. NMAX, Direct Energy, they'll defer your power bills for 90 days. Again, you're not getting your power and utilities for free. You still have to pay those back. It's just to help alleviate this cash crunch right now. They're not shutting down your power or your gas because of non-payment right now. So you probably should contact them to arrange that. But NMAX for sure has said that they're not going to cut anybody off for non-payment. And student loans, you're just automatically not, those are deferred for 6 months. Anything else to add on that, Curtis?
There was another, for anybody trapped out of the country, there's emergency $5,000 loans from the government to help you get back. That's another one that I haven't seen too much people talk about, but if you know someone that's outside of the country still and trying to get back and they're low on cash, there's a $5,000 government assistance option to apply for and use it to get back. So.
Okay, good. So now start working on your questions.
So there's a whole bunch of questions. Thanks so much, everyone, for submitting your questions. Take a minute maybe and just look through and add some votes if there are ones that you really want Curtis and Matt to answer. Right now, the one that has the most votes, Matt and Curtis, is from Michael Walper at the top. And there was a question asked that's also related by Lindsay Wilder in the chat function, asking about whether it's possible to adjust dividends to employment income for 2019 and pay a filing penalty in order to qualify. So I'll let you answer those two maybe together.
Yeah, because they really do jive, right? Because everything that they've released so far has said that dividends are not employment or self-employment income. So if you had dividends last year, then you don't technically meet the minimum $5,000 of employment or self-employment income. So you can't qualify for CERB just based on what they put out. But then, okay, so if I'm in that situation, that's just like Lindsay commented, that's the first thing I'm going to jump to. Okay, let's amend a few slips and change a couple tax returns and qualify for this. So it's almost a wait and see. Like you would almost just assume, and I know Chris commented above that, laughing the government to use common sense, but there's a lot of people in the same boat. So, and these people are just, you guys are specifically choosing to do a wage a dividend instead of a wage for whatever various reasons that you might have, right? So I did read one comment that Bill Morneau had touched on it briefly, but had not said, like he recognized that it was an issue and maybe they're still trying to figure out how to deal with it. But right now, it from what they've got in writing that they've released, it says dividends don't qualify, and maybe we do need to amend a couple slips to qualify, or treat it somewhat differently, or we just maybe tomorrow morning. It seems like that's another thing to mention. It seems like every single day a lot of this stuff is still changing. It's really, really fluid, to say the least, right? There's something new out every single day. So it could be tomorrow morning that they're announcing some comparable program offered to anybody paying their non-eligible dividends out of a small business. Matt?
One thing that they did mention was, if you're non-arm's length, like you have your own company and you're paying yourself a wage, you can't, like, say you started January, February, paying yourself 30 grand a year, you can't all of a sudden boost that up to 58 grand and claim the 75%. Like, they would look back at your history. So even if you are on wages, but maybe your half wages hit half dividends, they'll be looking for that. They'll be looking for that boost in salary right before you claim the 75%. But okay, hopefully we basically given you everything you know about that. Okay, the next one is to apply for the small business loan. Does the business have to show particular need, or does it apply across the board? Curtis, you want to handle that?
I haven't seen anything on the qualifications of what it's to be used for. Like it from what they released so far, it says that it just has to be used to like to support your immediate availability to support your business expenses. So the obvious assumption, there's a lot of assumptions you have to make until they fully like spit these programs out and you're actually signing the 6-page of fine print kind of thing. But as long as you're not like, think of the crazy things that you shouldn't do, right? You can't take this 40,000, pull it out, put it into a GIC, and then pay 30 of it back and instantly they're going to be, they're going to be trying to find any, like, close the loopholes of anybody trying to, like, just take advantage of it. But it looks like anything business expense related is going to qualify. So that would include, wages, just as simple as fuel for your vehicle, any business expense that you normally have to incur. From what the details say, it looks like that's what qualifies to be used for it. So to apply for the business loan. Did I address that fully or no?
I think so. Yeah, and it's, like, you just go to your banker, your business banker, to apply. So it sounds like the bank's administering their own kind of way to do it. So that would be my starting point. Okay, the next question is, can you earn any income if applying for the CERB? So you have to have stopped earning income to apply for it. And it reads, the way I read it, it's like you have to have completely stopped earning income for 14 days for 2 weeks. So yeah, if you're shut down for 2 weeks, you can apply for it. And maybe you'll get the full month. We don't know what this application looks like yet. But it looks like it has to be no income. Like, a lot of, like, take a restaurant, for example, like, they're just shut their doors, or a medical clinic, dentists, people like that, like, I don't think you'll get punished for having mitigating efforts to earn some income, like telehealth, or some of those other online ways of, like, treating your clients, or but yeah, you can also try to defer payment or invoicing on that income just to be safe. But it sounds like 14 days of isolation where you're not earning any income, that's kind of what they're trying to catch.
Yeah, they say that for your first benefit period, their wording is that you have had to stopped or will stop working for at least 14 consecutive days within the 4-week period. And then if you're filing a subsequent claim, you did not receive any employment or self-employment income for the period in which you claim the benefit. So anybody that has to lay off an employee, especially if you've got employees that you just can't keep on, or you know someone that has lost their job or had to close up entirely, it's if there was any 14-day period where they have stopped working or haven't been able to earn income for something COVID related, then they can apply.
Okay, we'll go to Catherine's question. Can I pull money from my company as a shareholder loan and get the CERB? Yeah, I don't see why you couldn't do that, because that's like your corporation paying you money that it owes you. That's not income. That's just repaying a debt. Like, that's repaying that loan. So yeah, definitely now's a good time if your company has the cash in it and you have a shareholder loan balance that's positive, like your company owes you that money. Now would be a good time to utilize that balance. Anything to add on that, Curtis?
No, I see it the exact same way. It's not income if you've got a shareholder loan credit, company owes you money, and it's not income if you take it out. So it shouldn't factor into the CERB calculation.
Okay. Payroll question for Ricky. Reducing remittances for April by 10% of total payroll. So would that be repaid at some point? We haven't heard anything. Sorry, my sound sucks. Curtis, you take this one.
Yeah, we haven't heard anything announced on potential clawback or anything. That would go for the 75% if, as well as the 10%. It is a subsidy, so it shouldn't have to be repaid. There's gonna obviously be some kind of balancing factor when you you've got your T4 summary, you've got the amounts that you have actually withheld and sent in, and they're not going to match up because of this difference, the 10% difference on the total gross. So there's going to be some extra form of reporting to say why they don't match, and doesn't look like it's going to have to be repaid, but flowing that right into some other stuff I've heard recently, people asking is potential clawback on the wage, the 75%, or even this 10%. If you don't qualify for, say you had 20% drop in earnings in April compared to April of last year, and you still went ahead and did the calculation, they're going to I've seen that they're going to request that amount back to be repaid. Any wage subsidy they do send to you is going to be income. So they're going to treat it as taxable income, but it doesn't look like it's going to have to be repaid as long as you're on side with the calculation.
Yeah, the 10% definitely seems a lot more flexible than the 75. And Trudeau's promised to come after anybody that's trying to like game the system, that is just trying to get free money and hasn't been impacted. But yeah, we don't know a lot of details on clawback or anything like that. Okay, so the next one, to apply for a business loan of $40,000 with $10,000 possible exemption, do you have to have employees? We are a family farm. I don't think so. It doesn't say anything about non-arm's length payroll. You just have to have payroll of at least $50,000 for 2019 or the last 12 months.
Yeah. Well, to have it, if you don't have payroll, right, you don't have to have employees. But if you're paying yourself payroll, like it looks like there is some payroll factored into this. And it's probably coupled into the government trying to get people back to work. They're trying to do their best to incentivize people rehiring. So from what I've seen from most of the releases, I've seen another one from another bank, and it does mention you need to have payroll, and it does reference the total gross earnings paid to employees on the T4 summary. So but again, reach out to whatever bank you're with, because it may be completely different, and maybe they still issue it.
And our good friend Chris Chalice is asking, he's still busy, but who knows what's going to happen 6 months down the road? Should he still apply for the 40K? At this point, there's no harm in applying for it. Like, you just have to know that you're going to have to pay it back. And it all depends on everybody has different feelings towards debt. But yeah, having that access to capital is never a bad thing, especially if, like you do a lot of work with schools, and that is very up in the air right now. You're missing half a year of wear and tear on classrooms and hallways. So yeah, you can apply for it. You don't have to draw it. Like, you can just have access to it.
Yeah, see what the banking details look like, what forms, what fine prints in there, and if it makes sense, get it, right? If it's an interest-free loan and you sign off and can get it, go for it. Just know that it's got to be repaid. So. Okay, and John Walsh is asking, if I pay myself a salary and claim exempt from EI because he's an owner, John, you're eligible for the CERB, the CERB program. If you don't qualify for EI, then that's what you would qualify for as a CERB. So you can start getting that $500 a week. You can apply for it this week when the application comes out. April 6th.
Yeah, April 6th.
And Matt, sorry, John had just asked a question in the chat function related to that. I think, just wondering about how the government's defining income, if the income varies from month to month. Is it based on the monthly income statement in 2019 or something else?
They said it, from what I've seen, it says using the same accounting method that you've previously used. So if you book your revenue or your revenue gets booked based on the date that bank deposits are made, then it also makes reference to reasonability. So as long as you're not trying to cheat the system and you're just doing things the normal way, a lot of systems, it won't be based on like when it's when you create the invoice in most accounting software that it gets booked as revenue. So it'll compare that chunk of time to the prior year, same month. But it just says using the same accounting method that you've previously used is how you find that comparability.
Mm-hmm. Okay, next question. Can you make the occasional small amount for CERB or zero to get the 2K? Trying to figure out how to pay commercial clinic rent, mortgage bills, etc. So, yeah, Vitalia, in your case, like if you're totally at zero for 14 days, apply for it, see what happens. If it's drastically reduced, yeah, I would say just apply for it for the first month and see what they come back. I know it'd be nice to have some certainty on what you qualify for. I think a significant drop, you should, yeah, we'll see. Apply, apply and see. Okay, the next one is how do they verify that I've lost income due to COVID-19? Will I have to provide documents? It's a good question. They would, like if you're employed or if you're the employer and you're laying off your staff or you've been laid off, just get a letter signed by the employer saying we've had to shut our doors due to COVID-19. Like anything that can support that you've lost income due to COVID-19, self-isolation, orders from your like oversight board, like any sort of medical institution or union. Yeah, anything that's like telling you have to shut down or you're declared a non-essential service, which is tough. Like realtors are considered essential services right now, and that like are they, so they're not told to shut down, so it's kind of not a good thing that they're considered an essential service, because if you're considered non-essential, there's your reason you can't operate because of COVID-19. But yeah, I would expect to have to provide something. Like anytime the government's giving you free money, they're going to want to double check. They're going to want to audit you. So yeah, keep all your documentation, all your payroll records. Anytime you take money out of your company, just keep good records just to be safe. Okay, those of us in the oil and gas industry are typically off during spring break, April, May, however, have lost contracts after breakup due to COVID. Will they consider us to be out of work due to COVID still? Yeah.
No, I was.
Sorry?
You go.
Like oil and gas is crashing right now too. And so there's a lot of projects that are being canceled, not directly because of COVID, just because oil's at like $8. So that's going to be a tough one. I would say right now, like, yeah, apply for it. Like the CERB definitely. And we'll just, yeah, I guess we'll see how it goes. I think if you're at home right now doing nothing, apply for the Alberta isolation. I think Kenny's going to be pretty lenient with oil and gas workers that are out right now. So yeah, we'll see. But like the worst you can do, or the worst that can happen is you apply and then you get denied, or you only get half a payment. But yeah, that's a tough one. Okay. Is there an option for part-time workers who've been laid off due to COVID-19? EI says I do not have enough hours to be eligible. Yeah, so that's exactly what the CERB program is for. It's for anybody that is out of work or laid off due to COVID-19, but they don't qualify for EI. So definitely apply for the CERB. Yeah, you should definitely qualify for that.
It'll vary. Oh, the small business rate, the loan once it converts to traditional, I've seen between 3 and 5%, but it'll be bank to bank, whatever. So reach out, figure that out separately. Like I referenced that CIBC one that I've read up on was converts to a 3-year term loan at 5% after December 31st, 2022. So I've seen a few comments of people mentioning that it's a little different with the bank that they're worked to. So each one has something separate, Brad. So yeah, call the bank or look through your junk email, see if you got a couple bank ones in there that are already giving out info. There's still some banks still haven't pieced it together and sent it out, right? Even the bank and the government is piecing this together and just trying to get it together and make sense of it and get it out to everybody as quick as they can. And as we can see, there's some gaps right now, but they're doing their best to just get the information out and then get the application set up too. So yeah, talk to your bank.
Okay, 26 questions left. So we'll just keep rolling through. We'll skip them if we feel like we've answered them before. So the 40 grand note doesn't say what you need to use the 40 grand business loan for. The 75% wage subsidy, that's going to be
off the employee's wage.
Yeah, it's the gross wage of the employee.
Oh yeah, sorry. Okay, I misread that.
But yeah, it's not a reduction to the payroll remittance. It's like actual cash that the government will send you. Okay, as a newly opened business, we open on March 13th. Can we still apply for CERB as we don't have a baseline revenue to go on? We're still open, but business is low.
They do make comment on that. I'll see if I can find that to you. We're chatting tomorrow anyways, and I'll find I did recall a specific example CRA gave of that, and they made reference to finding some form of a baseline revenue to work with. So potentially they'd look at what it should have been or what similar businesses have been. So yes, you do or may potentially qualify. It doesn't matter that you don't have comparables. So I'll make note of that, and we'll touch on that in our conversation tomorrow as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, new businesses, more info to come. Okay, my business has been active since December 2019. Can I compare March revenue to prior months? Yeah, so typically for most businesses, it would be March 2020 compared to March 2019. But I believe for new businesses, there's going to be a workaround for those comparable months. And that's just when you're measuring how much revenue you've lost. Okay, is it possible to adjust dividends to employment income for 2019 and pay a filing penalty? So this one's from Lindsay, and I don't think for 2019, like Curtis talked about that a little bit, but adjusting your T5 slip for 2019 to be a T4, they would not like that. I don't imagine. But if you're talking maybe like your February income, like if you made a late March 15th payroll remittance for payroll in February, and then you did you did payroll for yourself in March and made the remittance for this April 15th, maybe, like I would try it. Then you only have to pay the penalty on the late March 15th payroll remittance, which would be 10% of whatever that remittance would be. Yeah, again, there's no harm in trying. Okay, do you know if there are any options for someone who has lost 50% of their income, but not all? I'm a wedding photographer and half my weddings have been moved to 2021, meaning my income for this year has dropped significantly. Yeah,
it might depend on a few different variables, how you're paying yourself, if you're incorporated, if it's just employment income, or self-employed if you're a sole proprietor. We might need to talk more about, there might be something, but I'm not, hopefully it doesn't fall between all of the cracks that the government programs usually have, and we might need to set up a call and see what the scenario is like. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it just depends. If you're applying for the wage subsidy, you can have 75%. If it's CERB, you just have to have a period of no income. But yeah, it's completely, anybody in the event industry right now is very uncertain. Like the rest of the year, it's a tough place to be. So just wait, be patient, and see what kind of guidance comes out.
This one, I was waiting for you to click on it. The next question. Okay. I've seen an example that says no, they do not qualify specifically. Even if the student had a job last year and they just can't find one because of COVID, they don't qualify. It's only if you've lost job or work because, not unable to find. So full-time students that can't find a summer job, CRA's site says they do not qualify.
Okay, if we don't get to all of these, we can follow up with you later. Anything that's like related to your specific situation, we'll just we'll follow up with an email. We know who most of you guys are. Let's see. Again, we have 3 minutes left here. I don't know if we want to keep this going. If you need to leave, you can obviously just check out, and we have your questions here. But me and Curtis could probably hang out for a little bit longer and just keep answering these questions if that's all right.
Yeah, this top one, that's one of my primary focuses right now, is to figure out how the dividends are going to be treated, because it's just, it doesn't make sense, and it's not fair for someone that's choosing to pay themselves a dividend instead of a wage, that they get nothing. I'm assuming in the next couple of days we'll see something, but yeah, we're gonna keep our website updated and probably send out something in the form of a mass communication or email once we know the answer, because we know that's affecting a lot of our clients especially.
Yeah, we'll have a newsletter coming out next week as well. Also, social media, we'll be doing updates all the time. So keep tuned in on those, on whatever your favorite channel is.
Mike's was so good, he wanted to put it in twice.
Oh, have we already answered this one?
Yeah, he typed another one and it got upvoted to you. That was the first question, so.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
Done. So yes, when you're calculating your drop in revenues, it is just gross revenue for March 2020 versus March 2019, and that would be prior to GST. GST, just as a reminder, is money you're required to collect on behalf of the government. It's not your revenue. It's not even your money, really. You're just, the government's forcing you to collect it and then give it to them. So if I was forced to close my clinic doors on March 26th.
If you are who are or expect to be without for a 14-day period, then to apply. So you don't have to wait, but if you expect it to be longer than 14, apply. Once that application gets goes live on the 6th, they're like, we'll see what it's going to be. There's going to be a lot of tick boxes to fill out and questions along the way, and we'll see what those all look like and maybe get some better guidance then. But it does say if you have or expect to have 14 days of nothing, then apply. It says you qualify. So,
And for that, Vitalia just had a comment there. Should we apply right now? Application's not quite open, so apply on Monday. We have a blog that has a table, like the government's laid out. Like if your last name starts from like A to, I'll just open it right now. Yeah, it's based on the alphabet, or is it birth date?
It's based on birth month. So
Yeah, birth month.
they're trying not to crash their website entirely. But so if your birth month was not in the, where does it show?
Like January, February, March, then you apply on Monday, April 6th. If you were born in April, May, June, wait till Tuesday, April 7th. If you're July, August, September, apply on April 8th, October, November, December, April 9th.
Yeah.
Hold on. It's in those links that I sent before. Okay. Have they set out a parameter for cutoffs or where it qualifies as a small business in terms of eligibility? For the 10%, it's pretty open. No, I don't think there's no size, there's no number of employees. The 10%, there is like a cap of 25,000 per company. And you have to be, there are some rules around, like you have to be either a partnership or a CCPC, or anyways, it's all on our blog.
You'd qualify. There wouldn't be, I'm assuming this is, Kim. So,
Okay.
You'd qualify. You wouldn't be too large, or too small or anything like that. It's still gonna apply.
Okay, I think we answered that one. So
realtors, okay.
Yeah, I'd say even if you're still an essential service, but your income is down to zero, I think you should qualify for CERB as well. Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else that we haven't really touched on here?
This Gina's here, the payroll for 19. Then you just switch to dividends. You would technically land within their parameters if you went back to payroll right now, because you did have employment income, which is one of the tick boxes in their checklist, in their criteria. So you had over 5,000 of employment income last year, so you would qualify for payroll right now if you just say April and or even March, April, May, say that it was payroll and make the remittance now. If you're still watching, we can maybe piece this together. If you want to reach out, we can schedule a phone call, see if there's some way to do it. But if not, maybe stay tuned for more of a release, some info on what they're going to say about the dividends. Like I said, I heard Bill Morneau talk about it briefly, or got questioned on it, but didn't go into much detail. I bet they don't have a plan put together yet, but hopefully soon.
Okay. Should we wrap it up?
What other activity?
I think so. We've got some questions remaining, but we'll follow up by email if there are specific ones that need answering, or obviously reach out, everyone, via email or social, schedule a call if you need. We're here to support you, absolutely. Thanks, Matt and Curtis, for taking the time and for all of your expertise. Thanks to everyone for joining and for participating and answering, asking so many great questions. hopefully it was helpful for you. And we will be updating the blog, and obviously social is where we keep everyone up to date. So please follow along. And if you have any feedback about the webinar, we'd love to hear from you. So just shoot us an email or make a comment on social. And we're cheering for you guys. Best of luck. I know Matt and Curtis share that with me, and we just hope you guys all stay safe, and we'll make it through this together.
Yeah, if you didn't get your question answered 100%, just shoot off an email. If we don't see anything, we'll try to send out answers to those that we already have emails for too. I'm scrolling through, seeing a couple more that some of them are a little unknown or very specific to the situation. So if you didn't get your question answered, reach out and we'll do our best to figure it out.
Yeah, thanks everybody. I hope this was helpful. We had fun doing it, and we'll be in touch.
Take care.
Okay. Adios. How do I end this?